A watchful mother will not sweep issues under the carpet by hiding such from their husbands. I'm going to dwell here a bit. You know, children, right? I don't know, but I think they feel mothers, and it's true, mothers are more lenient. Most mothers are more, I won't say weak, but there's this empathy kind of, what they can't get from their fathers. They believe that mom will do it. And I've been through some of these lots of times. I mean, by the special grace of God, we have 4 boys. So I know what it entails. Sometimes they meet their dad for something and he says no. But of course, I wouldn't be there. So they come to me and they say, Mom, can we do this or can we have this? And I just say, go ahead. So they do it, and then their father finds out. Says, why are you doing this? Oh, mom said we can do it. But why didn't you tell your mom? I already told you not to do it. So children have the tendency of, playing dad against mom and mom against dad. So my husband had to call a meeting in the house and say, listen, children, an end to this nonsense. Once I say no, you cannot go to your mom. You can't. And that settled it. Praise the Lord. But that's a different ball game. What I'm trying to say is that somebody comes home to report your child to say, maybe your child fought at school. Your child fought at school. And you were the mom. You were the one that was met at home as a mom, right? Your husband is not in. Your husband went to work. So they reported the case to you, or they sent an email from school to let you know the events of the day. And instead of you to immediately alert your husband, you sweep it under the carpet. You're not helping yourself, and you are not helping your husband. And worst case, you are not helping that child, because every child needs the voice of both parents in their lives. They need the voice of the father, and they need the voice of the mother. So you thinking that you want to play the good cop is not being a watchful mother, because you swept it under the carpet. Your husband probably is the street type, and your child, Mom, please don't let that. No, Mom, please, 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 please. In my house, they know they are wasting their time. Even if you beg me to tomorrow, your daddy will hear. Because, not because it's just like I want my conscience to be clear before God and man. So when I push it under the carpet, I always ask, what will God say? What I am doing, is it right before God and man? So because I don't want anything, I don't want to have an issue in future, I don't want God to count it against me as a sin. When my husband gets in, I say, oh, this is what happened today. And he calls the boys and he says, well, it shouldn't, sometimes it's not really bad. He just educates them on doing things better. But as a mom, please, I see issues like that. When I was in secondary school, I had a classmate that he was very good looking, very, very good looking. He was a bit troublesome, but he was very intelligent. He was in my class in class 3 then. I think class 3 now is maybe grade 7, probably. So this guy, he even came third in our class then. And I remember his story very well, because we're about 4 that came third in a particular term. And then, we had to all break out. Somebody had to come third, fourth, fifth, sixth in the following term. When we left secondary school, now this guy's father was a military officer. Their parents were very rich. But I heard that he was involved in armed robbery. Not because his parents were poor. And I'm not sure of this, but somebody told me later that, the mom was a bit too, let me even put that aside. Sometimes you see your children, you see your young child taking what you have not given that child. Don't ignore it and say things like, it's going to change. No. Let him realize that what he's done is really bad. Am I speaking to somebody? Because that's a watchful mom. Your child has taken something, your child comes home with something that does not belong to him. I remember many years ago, and I've said this story probably here before, when I was in secondary school, my mom said, oh, I was always losing cutleries, and she said she was tired of giving me cutleries. And I said, Mom, that's because people steal my cutleries. And out of frustration, she said, if they steal yours, you steal theirs too. And I took it up. I went to school and I started to take people's cutlery. So I never lost cutlery again, because if you take my own, I'll take your cutlery. So when I finished my secondary school and I got back home, it was time for me to empty my box. And I brought out all these cutleries that were disjointed. And I was glad to put them in my mom's kitchen. Of course, my mom's cutleries were all the same design. So immediately she spotted them. Where did you get this cutlery from? I said, from school. She said, what? You took people's cutleries. I said, but Mom, you said, she said, that's not what I didn't mean for you to steal. I was just like telling you that I can't keep replacing your cutleries. She told me to pack every cutlery from our house. And I didn't even know where to keep them. So I put them back in my box. And I remember in 1988, I'd left secondary school already, but Ryan Bonke came to Kaduna for a program. And that was how, he preached on restitution. I'd already left secondary school. I didn't know where I took the cutleries from. But he said something, if you are taking anything and you don't know who wants it, bring it to the crusade ground. I went back to my house. I packed all these cutleries that my mom didn't want to see in our kitchen, and I took them to the crusade ground of Ryan Bonke. I will not forget. And that's what watchful mothers should do. If my mom had not been watchful, she wouldn't have known that she has strange cutleries in her kitchen. So if your child is showing traits, some traits, your child gets angry. There are some children, when they are angry, they throw things. They just throw things like that. And as a mom, you just say things like, that's how I was when I was young. No, that's not how you were when you were young. Because what is controlling your child might not be ordinary anger. It might be a demon. And that is why you need to be watchful and pray it out immediately. There are some things that children outgrow, but there are some things that is demonic. So a watchful mother, and we're going to get there, you're going to see that by the special grace of God, nothing should be swept under the carpet. Anything that you see that is in the character of your child, that is not to the glory of God, you pray it out. If that child is matured, you sit the child down and you advise the child. Praise the Lord.